welcome back. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you find yourself in the world watching this podcast. It is episode 2 of the Red Talk podcast here on the Sportycast network with myself, If, as your host. And as I said before, every week we're just going to be doing a sort of a roller coaster uh, of guests of Man United voices from around the world. And this week, I'm going a bit closer to home. Last week, I was reaching over to Australia to get a buddy of mine. This week, I am within South Africa, and a buddy of mine who I've connected with on Twitter for a while, and we are finally making this a live thing now. Kenny Aphane, how are you doing? Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much, Faraz. Appreciate it being on the podcast. And yeah, I'm always keen to discuss United. There's always something going on. And yeah, interesting topics to discuss all the time.
I love that, man. I love that. And as is customary on the Sportycast channel over here, anytime we have a first time guest on any of our shows, we give them a bit of an icebreaker. So, Kenny, for your debut on the Sportycast channel, this is going to be a very Man United centric question. And
Awesome.
if you could pick the brain of any Manchester United player, past or present, who would it be and why?
Pick the brain of any Man United player, past or present. Um, I'll pick two, Nemanja Vidic and then also Paul Scholes. Paul Scholes, due to the fact that like he was one of the best midfielders I've ever seen. He could score a worldie whenever he felt like it. His passing was out of this world. The reason why I pick his brain is because of his scanning and just how he operates on the pitch. Whereas Vidic, Vidic was something else. Vidic is actually, him and Paul Scholes are considered to be two of my favorite players of all time at United. I'd consider Vidic. I really rate Vidic. I love the fact that he came from a Russian team. I think he was playing for Spartak Moscow, if I'm not mistaken. And he just got to United, and a lot of people weren't expecting much from him. And he just came in, and he just became a dominant figure. So for him to just come from humble beginnings and then just get to United and become the leader of the club and eventually captain, yeah, I really love to pick his brain. Like, what was he going through? What was his process, etc. Yeah, it would have been amazing. But currently, I'd obviously pick Bruno. I go for Bruno in this current team, just to see, because I think Bruno gets a lot of like flack for being a normal footballer. Like, I know in the modern day, it seems like people want to like get rid of personalities, and Bruno is a huge personality. I feel like if Bruno existed back in the day in a United team, it would be perfect, because back then we had a lot of vocal figures. Your Scholes were loud, your Giggs's were loud, Rooney was very loud, Vidic
Yeah.
obviously. So I think he would have been perfect in the back in the day, and I would love to be in his brain to see what he goes through when we are losing, because he takes it personally when we lose. He feels like a fan in how he approaches his emotions in games. So yeah, those three:
Yeah.
Vidic, Scholes, Fernandes. Sorry for
Yeah.
picking
Bruno.
three.
No, 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 dude. Thank you so much for that. Bruno he seems to be a very emotional guy, and you can feel that in when we lose, and like you're very much spot on over there. Last week
Yeah.
when I asked my buddy Adam Joseph, who he who would have wanted to play with, from any of the United players past or present, he picked Vidic. So seems like
Oh,
Vidic
nice.
is a trend going over here.
Oh,
I
nice.
love that
Awesome.
though. I love that. What
Yeah,
a
I'm
warrior
familiar
he
with
was.
Adam Joseph. Big up to him. Big up to Adam
Yeah,
Joseph.
yeah. What a legend. Yeah, he was our first guest last week. So yeah,
Awesome.
looking forward to having him on the podcast again. But let's move a bit forward in terms of how Man United are currently going about their preseason. They've had two matches: the match against Leeds, and then now a couple of days ago against West Ham. They won the game against West Ham. I didn't really. It was 1 o'clock in the morning over here, so I just managed to catch the highlights. The following
Yeah.
day, the highlights. Um, but for the most part, from what I saw, that first 11 that that Ruben Amorim fielded, they looked like they were there for the taking. Like the intensity, the sharpness, everything was on point. Even somebody like Rasmus Hoyland, he looked, I mean, a completely different person or player
Yeah.
than the person who ended the season last season. It looks like there's a lot of hunger in all of them. And then the second 11, or the 10 substitutes he made after, I think it was, he sent the 70th minute, he was going to make those subs. After that 70 minutes, he brought on 10 substitutes, and they just looked like they were completely off the pace. I just like your thoughts on the game against West Ham, the shift of intensity, the depth of our squad, and how we can try to remedy that moving forward.
Yeah, obviously, we played the game against Leeds, and to be honest, my analysis of that first game, it did feel like a preseason game. Players did look a bit lethargic. There wasn't many combinations, and Leeds did have like a lot of chances, the bulk of the chances, in my opinion. And then we only like switched on later on, around 75th minute, I would say 70th, 75th minute. But then going into the game against West Ham, yeah, you've said it well. The first 11, the first bunch that played, it really looked good. The match sharpness looked on point. It looks like the fitness levels of this team this season is looking far much better than last season. Obviously, I've seen on the timelines on Twitter fans talking about how players are looking leaner and all that. It is something that we will acknowledge. It is a fact. They do look leaner. Even Rasmus Højlund looked like he had lost, like he had picked up a bit of weight. Obviously they are athletes, and when they pick up weight, they still look fitter than their normal human
Yeah.
being. But you can see now the difference between last season. Like, he's much leaner. Players are much leaner. And there's a lot more emphasis on running in the system under Ruben Amorim. There's gonna people are not gonna need to run a lot because we're playing with wing backs, and due to the fact that we're playing with wing backs, it means a lot of space can be left behind. So you need other teammates to cover those areas to help out. So in that game, it looked great. I would say the first 80 minutes, we did create. I watched the game. The first 30 minutes, we created chances. Holland. He was a bit unlucky, but obviously right now with his match or goal scoring drought happening, or lack of goals happening, there's gonna be a lot more eyes on him. But he was unlucky for me with that effort. But it was a brilliant best of pace for him to
How insane
manage to
was
get
that
to.
first place? It was
Jesus, it was
crazy.
insane. It was insane because I haven't seen him try that in a long time, to be honest. I'll say the last time he probably did that was his like early last season, or in the preseason last season when he came on, and then he ended up getting injured. So it's good to see him now be able to play two games at least in preseason. So it was good, and I'll say the Bruno and Cunha combination also it's just looking relatively good. But obviously there's still more. They still need to play together more. But I did see a lot more combinations between the two of them than the first game. And Patrick Dogu there, left wing back, is looking really good. And I see fans are not happy with Ahmad playing at right wing back. But to be honest, for me, in my opinion, if Mbuemo's gonna work into this team, we might need to sacrifice Ahmad and play him there at right wing back, because we know Ruben Amorim isn't gonna let go of the system he plays. He wants to maintain that system. So I just feel like fans need to accept that Ahmad will be a right wing back going forward. I'd much rather have him there with Mbuemo, because I feel like they're gonna combine well. They both speak skillful. They're gonna create an element of surprise, an element of unpredictability. So yeah, like going forward, I really need to see more of that first 50, 60 minutes of that game. The intensity was good, but as it went by, there were some elements of last season and the season before. And the second team, I'm really worried with our lack of options besides the main squad. If the injuries happen, and obviously there's AFCON coming, Wemo might be in AFCON, Ahmad might be in AFCON, Onana might be in AFCON. But if we lose those players, I'm a bit more worried. However, if we can maintain the same fitness levels, we shouldn't have a lot of problems as we did last season, in my view.
Yeah. So, like that's the frustration I have with the Man United fan base. So there's a lot of them that's now calling out for, like, why is Ahmad playing at right wing back? Like, Ahmad shouldn't be sacrificed. Whereas if you look towards the end of last season, there were times when Ahmad was playing in the right 10, and then people were saying that he needs to get out of the right 10 and back to right wing back, because as a
Yeah,
wing back he has more space and there's more opportunity for him to stretch the pitch that way. Whereas if he's in a right 10, he's more central, he's more compact. So I don't know what is it that these fans want, because if they're complaining now that he's in right wing back because Mbuemo's coming in, I think that's a good thing, because as you
yeah,
said, unpredictability. Ahmed can be making those wide runs, but then they're still going to be preoccupied with trying to guard Mbuemo in the middle. So that's
yeah.
I feel like that's a secret weapon that Amorim has up his sleeve now.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like, and for me personally, last season, after Amarim came in and Amar was playing right wing back, I was a bit skeptical when he started. But as the season progressed and he was playing right wing back, I preferred him more there. Like I remember I do Twitter spaces. I remember somebody came on the space and was also alluding to the fact that Ahmad should be playing at a 10 and stuff. And I was like, I actually feel like when he's at right wing back, he's got more like he gets more space. Like we need Ahmad out wide. I don't consider him as a 10. I don't know where the idea of him being a 10 came from. I really don't consider him as a more central player. I consider him to be out wide. He's good. Like if at some stages he needs to when he needs to be on the touchline, I think he's one of the best. Like he'll be on the touchline and he'll beat somebody, and now he's cutting in centrally, and that creates a lot of unpredictability. His right foot isn't that bad either. He's good at crossing with it, and also he can cut inside and shoot whenever he feels like it. I honestly felt like when he was playing there, he was a lot more effective than when he was playing as a 10. I feel like as a 10, there are more limits to him. As a 10, you gotta like there's just so much, especially in the modern day. Like tens are no longer that important. And I feel like also in the modern day with the wing backs are becoming more of the playmakers. They get more involved in the play. So having him there, he does get a lot more involved in the play, in my view. So Mbuemo comes in. Mbuemo is more of a winger, obviously, as well, but he's also played centrally for Bournemouth. They needed him as a striker. He's cut inside a lot. So I think it's going to be interesting. And obviously, they can always cover each other. If Amares are taking a lot more, Mbuemo will probably stay back. So I'd rather have more threat going forward than try to be cautious, in my view. Yeah.
I echo your sentiments fully, man. I'm just glad that we have these options at our disposal now. And if you think
Yeah.
back to the players that Ruben had over at Sporting, here, Giovanni Quenda at right wing back as well. He's not a right back. He's not a defender. He's a winger, and he's
Yeah.
an attacking player, but he played at wing back for Ruben. And I mean, he was so integral to his system over there. He's now moved on to Chelsea, but I think he's still spending the entire season over at Sporting. And then at the end of the 2025-26 season, he'll end up coming over to Chelsea. But I mean, he's a winger playing as a right wing back, and yeah, he was super important to Amadim, and I think Ahmed will be the exact same.
Yeah.
Um, just moving on real quick to some of the transfers and the squad changes that sort of need to happen for us to be doing any work. We have Rashford that's already gone out the door. He's gone to Barcelona. I think he made his debut in one of the preseason games this past weekend as well. But we still, I mean, they are being called the bomb squad online, and that is Malacia, Anthony, Jadon Sancho, and Alejandro Garnacho. Ruben Amorim said if they don't get sold, there will be a way to try and reintegrate them back into the squad. But I think it would be best for all parties, for all of them, to just find some solutions in terms of leaving the club, finding a new club, basically restoring their happiness within the game. Out of those four transfers, which one do you think is more likely to happen quicker rather than later?
Yeah. Obviously, right now, I saw recently, I think it was on Sunday, this past Sunday, they spoke of interest in Anthony from Al Nassr in Saudi Arabia. And he looks like the most likely to leave next. To be honest, Tyrell Malaysia, I don't know what's going on with Tyrell Malaysia. Out of that squad, that bomb squad, Tyrell Malaysia looks like the one that might end up staying because I'm seeing rumors for Anthony, I'm seeing rumors for Jadon Sancho. I do believe that Anthony could be the next one to leave. The way Al Nassr now is being linked to him, it could be like a ploy to put more pressure on Real Betis to try and make a move. And if Real Betis don't make a move, I feel like for him, obviously in terms of like it being a competitive league, it's not really there yet, but it's still like it's a growing destination. A lot of players are going there now. It's no longer just about whether they're going to retire or whatever. The youngsters are also going there, and Al Nassr is one of the top four there. So I think for him, professionally and personally, it wouldn't be such a bad move. Obviously, from a personal point of view, he's probably going to be earning far more than he used to earn at United. And there's the element of taxation. They might not be taxed that much. So for me, I think if he ends up there, it's not a bad thing. And from United's point of view, financially, I feel like we stand to make more from an Al Nassr than a Real Betis. You look at the element of FFP, it's going to come into play. Betis is probably trying to avoid that because they are now in Europe. And Spain have also, like in Spain, La Liga, they've got their own strict FFP measures. So they might not be able to meet his wages. He was trying to take a pay cut there. And it looks like even with the pay cut, they're not really convinced because they're trying to balance their books. They need other signings. So Al Nassr comes in, they offer him the money that he wants, and he's probably guaranteed a place in the team. I think Mane is going to leave soon, or Mane has already left that club. So I think he's the one that looks most likely to leave. And second would probably be Jadon Sancho. He looks like he's got a lot more interest in him. I'd even say much more than Anthony because like I've heard stories about Napoli, I've heard stories about Juve. It looks like he's mainly wanted there in Serie A. So hopefully he does go. And yeah, I forgot about Garnacho. Garnacho as well. I think he's definitely top three. I'll say actually, I'll change that. He's actually the second one. I think that's most likely to leave after Anthony. Garnacho, he's obviously more interested in staying in the Premier League. A lot of the fans, I wouldn't want him to play for Chelsea, for example. I wouldn't want him to play for City or Liverpool or any of the big six. But if he does end up at Aston Villa, I wouldn't mind that. And maybe if I was to pick anyone else in that big six category, I'd look at Spurs. Spurs would be quite a likely destination for him. I heard rumors of Son potentially going to the MLS. Maybe Garnacho does end up at Spurs and he gets the number 7 like his idol Ronaldo. So yeah, I think those three are the main ones that may leave. But like honestly speaking, with Malaysia, I don't know what's going on in Malaysia because the biggest problem with Malaysia was the injury. Obviously, he was out with that knee injury. He was expected to return earlier, but then he couldn't. I think he returned like 6 or 7 months after we were told he's coming back because he kept having setbacks with the injury. He went out on loan at PSV and he wasn't really that great. He was a bit off the pace due to, I mean, you get a knee injury that could be potentially career ending, or like even if you come back, you need a lot of time to recover. So I think with him, it's gonna be more tricky to let him go. The only rumor I've heard about him is Celtic wanting him potentially, but I really haven't heard anything else. That was probably like a week or more than 2 weeks ago. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure when I saw that rumor, but since then I really haven't heard anything. But yeah, these guys need to leave. They need to go. It's not even about not being talented or anything. If they don't fit into the team, if they being cast away or they're being banished from the squad, the dressing room, it's much better for all parties to go separate ways. I know some fans were not happy with the Rashford move. Obviously, Rashford is a Carrington player. He's a Carrington graduate. I personally, it's sad to see him play for another team, but personally, for his own career, I'm happy for him that he's gone to Barcelona. Obviously, it's still a loan move, but if he does do well there might be more interest in him from elsewhere, or he might end up staying there. And similarly to these guys as well, they need to just go. I don't like Sancho. I'm not even gonna lie. What Sancho did, I mean, we anticipated him. We waited for him for a couple of seasons. We wanted him. When he finally arrived, we were so excited, but it just hasn't worked out. And from a discipline point of view, he doesn't seem like he cares. So for me, I'd rather let him go. Ganacho, I will feel sad for because I saw like a future in him, but obviously he brings in the element of like that pure profit. We get money for him, and it's really good for us from a PSR and FFP point of view. So yeah, it's sad for them, and it's sad maybe for some fans, but they have to go, and we need to move on ultimately.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Garnacho thing is the one that we're probably going to be putting a lot of care into, whichever contract or whichever deal we agree with whichever club. So I would assume that there would be a buyback clause. I would assume there would be
Yeah,
a huge sell on clause, because everybody at United knows the ceiling that you'd be able to hit. It's just about his attitude and whether he has all the right tools to sort of achieve all of those things. With Anthony, I think it's a no brainer for him to join his idol over at Al Nassr. You would jump at the chance to do it. I saw figures of between like 45 and 60 million for him. I think if we get anything within that range, I will see that as a win. Um,
yeah,
and especially from a PSR point of view, with us trying to like bring other players in, we need to be selling these players for a decent sum of money. And then like let me just like move over to the players we want to be bringing into United. So we are linked with Benjamin Sesko. We linked with Ollie Watkins, that young keeper Lammens, Donnarumma as well. So these are really good, um, sort of good players to try and bring into to United to try and take us to this next level. Newcastle are sort of negotiating with Cisco as well. Aston Villa are being very stubborn about Ollie Watkins. Donnarumma, he's asking for astronomical wages,
yeah.
for wherever he goes. So I just want to get your thoughts out of the players who I've just mentioned now. Which ones do you think we would be able to bring in before the window closes, and which ones do you think are the right fit for United?
All right. For me personally, when it comes to the striker position between Shesko and Watkins, I'll take either of the two to be honest. I think was a couple of seasons or 3 seasons back. I remember I just tweeted as a joke saying, I'm an Ollie Watkins stan account. Like I've always been a huge fan of him. I think Like he's one of the most naturally gifted strikers I've ever seen play in the Premier League. I know like he hasn't really achieved much from like a team point of view, but like for him to come into a team like Aston Villa and hit double digits every season in the Premier League is really impressive. I think you look at his goal tallies, it's like he started off with around 14, went to 18 or 19, 14 again, then back to 18, 19. So he's somebody who is a proven goal scorer in the Premier League. And from that point of view, I will take him anytime. And I think when it comes to Sesko, I'm seeing a lot of people who are saying he's not experienced. Like I just feel like fans, whenever they speak from an experience point of view, they tend to look at the age. But when you look at Sesko, from a national team point of view, you look at him from continental club football point of view, he's actually got more experience than Watkins. He's played more games for his national team. He's played more games in club competitions in Europe, your Champions Leagues, Europa League. I'm not sure. I don't think he played Europa League, but he has definitely played more Champions League games than Oli Watkins, who only played the Champions League this past season. So Oli Watkins does have the more experience than him in terms of like he's been in the lower leagues and he's got the prem proven and he's played more games, scored more goals. I agree with that point of view, but saying Sesko isn't experience for me is a bit faulty because he's almost hitting 50 caps for Slovenia. So in as much as he's still a young kid, this is somebody who has been given a huge responsibilities from a really young age, and he's somebody who I feel like will explode and become a star. I feel like if Newcastle gets him, we as United are gonna have regrets one day and be like, "Whoa, we could have gotten him." So for me, in my view, I will take him. I'll take him or Watkins any day. And I do feel like the what Newcastle is doing could be to our benefit. Let's just wait to see how much they bid, and then maybe we hijack that. And then obviously with Watkins is also a bit tricky because I'm not sure if he really wants to leave Villa, and I'm not sure if Villa will give us a cheap. I don't think it would be cheap because I saw prices that were quoted as like 60 million pounds, and he's like almost 30. I think he turns 30 this year in December. So from that point of view, it's also a bit tricky. Like you're getting a striker who isn't that experienced in Sesko, and then you get a really experienced striker, but he's almost 30 and he's really expensive for his age. But I honestly do feel like Watkins will still have 4 or 5 years left in him, and I do feel if we can get 4 or 5 years in him from him, I think that's a win. You look at somebody like Lewandowski at Barcelona. Obviously, Lewandowski is much bigger or much better than Watkins. But you look at him, he came to Barca really late, like 33, 34, around there, and he's still banging in the goals. I don't feel like age is that much of a barrier in my view. But if I was to pick between the two, I'll take Sesko because I've always admired Sesko, and I feel like he's got longer years in him. But yeah, either of the two will do. And then I look at Lammens. I'm not too familiar with Lammens, but I'm looking at the league he comes from. Verbruggen, who's at Brighton, comes from that league. Courtois is Belgian. So they have a great history of nurturing and like developing these players. And I looked at his stats for his team, appearance wise. He's got the experience. He's played a lot of games, even though he's like 22. So he seems like somebody who's got a lot more weight on his shoulders in terms of the future. Like there's a lot of expectations on him. So I would take him because like price wise, he's cheap. I honestly don't believe in spending a lot in a goalkeeper. Like when we spent on Onana, yeah, I was happy to have Onana, but it was like so much money. I think he's in the top two or top three of the most expensive keepers. It wasn't necessary to really spend that much on a keeper in my view. So I don't think we need to go wild on a keeper. But if we were to get a Martinez, I think Martinez, the issue is like his wages. He's gonna be expensive from a wage point of view.
Yeah.
So I would take Lammens. I think he's good. But what we do need, in my view, we need a midfielder. I don't know which midfielder, sorry, we'll get, but we really need to improve on our midfield because we've lost Ericsson this season. And I feel Sekou Kone, in as much as he's a talented young player, he's still young and he just came from Mali recently. And he's still trying to learn English football, trying to learn English culture, the environment, etc. So I don't want to put too much weight on his shoulders at this young age. So if we can get a midfielder, even if a stopgap midfielder for like a couple of seasons, that would do. Somebody that can help, especially a deep lying playmaker that will allow Kobe to also be freer, or that will also allow Ugarte to not be forced to, like, we are forcing so much from Ugarte. We want him to be this creative footballer, but he's not that player. He's more of a destroyer. So if we can get that like just get somebody who can help us have a balance in midfield, because our midfield has been imbalanced for a while. I mean, Ugarte and Casemiro are too similar in my opinion. They
Yeah.
shouldn't be. One of them shouldn't be forced to be this creative outlet, in my view. So I need a midfielder and a striker. I know the goalkeeper situation is frustrating with Onana, but I feel like if we can improve that midfielder, we probably eliminate a lot of issues because our midfield is wide open. Like it gets exposed a lot. Whenever issues happen within that team, it's that midfield that is
Yeah.
noticeable. That like, look, man, there's space here. They just we get being ran through. So we need to work
And
on that midfield.
yeah, as good as we played against West Ham, the the goal that Jaden Bowen scored was when that initial 11 was still on the pitch. And that goal arose because of how high up that midfield was placing.
Yeah.
And they just left Suchek wide open in the middle of the park. And I think that's something that Ruben Amorim is definitely going to look at. He's going to try to sort of ensure that when they go into the season, into the Premier League season, that small things like that are going to be accounted for. And I'm just going to use this as a segue to go into Man United versus Bournemouth on Thursday. Um, do we think that he's going to be starting the same 11, or do you think he's going to start mixing them up again and trying to find another sort of sweet spot? Because I think the 11 that he started against West Ham was pretty much his strongest 11 currently that he has available.
Yeah.
Players who are fit, players who are available. I think that was the strongest 11. But I think he's going to try to maybe check chemistry between those players, mix them out, maybe throw a Mason Mount in there, maybe try to experiment with Casemiro and Kobe Mainu together. But yeah, your thoughts?
Yeah, in my opinion, I think he should try stick to the same 11 again. It's our strongest 11. I think it was first time in a while, or it's the earliest we've in a while where we've played as like the strongest 11 for 60 minutes in a preseason. Because I remember under Ten Hag in the last two seasons, like he would give 45 minutes to this 11 and then another 45 minutes to the next 11. So I'd much rather have him start with his strongest 11 again, and then maybe the difference in this 11 might be Mbeumo, if Mbeumo is available. If you do
He's
add
not.
him in, oh, he's still not
He's
available.
he's not.
So,
He's not playing yet.
okay, yeah, like you were saying, maybe experiment with the midfield. If he does experiment with the midfield, I wouldn't mind. But if he can keep the large core of what he started with versus West Ham, I think that's great because I rather have players combine, be familiar with one another. I mean, Cunha is still like a new player. I want to see him start more, get the confidence going. Let's see Hoyland again up front. I know people don't like Hoyland, but he honestly looked much better than usual in this previous game. Obviously, he did switch off a bit later on, but like he was much more interested, like he was more engaged in the game. So I'd rather see that again, and I want to see how he combines with Cunha because there were moments where Cunha tried to pass him and he was like far ahead or like it didn't react quicker or stuff like that. So I just want to see it. I just want to see that combination between Cunha and Bruno again. I want to see Kobe in that midfield again. And if you are changing in that midfield, like you said, Casemiro and Kobe, let's see how that is because Kobe and Ugarte look decent. Because I do feel Kobe right now is our best midfielder in terms of ball playing ability, creative outlet in midfield. He is that guy. Obviously, there's Bruno in front of him who's more creative than him. But like, if we're looking from the midfielders that we don't expect much going forward from, Kobe should start. So yeah, if we can have that, yeah. And also, I'd like to see maybe if he is gonna make subs, he can make subs earlier this time, maybe around the 55th minute, and he doesn't necessarily need to bring in all the players at once. Maybe take off Edogu, bring on Diego Leon, because I want to see more of Leon. He looks like an interesting player. He hasn't, for me, he hasn't looked terrible. He hasn't looked great. He just looks like he is keen. He looks like he's interested in
Yeah.
engaging in play. So
He just has
just
a
give
lot
him
to
more
learn.
time. Let's see how he does. Yeah, there's a lot to learn. He
Yeah.
wants to
There's a
learn.
lot to
Yeah.
learn.
So
There's a lot of times when he's
yeah,
pressing high and he's leaving his station basically unaccounted for. And
yeah,
you can see that Ruben's basically trying to coach him during the game and trying to tell him what to do, what not to do, when to press, when to maybe just hold his ground a bit. So that's good to see. I mean, the kid's only 18 years old, so he has a really long way to go. But I think what we've seen of him is really positive. I think
yeah.
his intent is really good, and I don't know. I saw some rumors a couple of weeks ago that he might be like on the list to go out for a season long loan when the season does start. That would literally just like not like make me a bit depressed because that means if anything happens to Dogu, that means Luke Shaw will probably go left
Yeah.
wing back, and I don't think I'm a fan of that. But I mean, I
And Luke
trust
Shaw
somebody
isn't
much like
reliable.
him.
And the other
Exactly,
issue is
exactly,
Luke Shaw isn't reliable. Like, if he does play, how long will he play for? That's the issue.
exactly.
Like,
He'll
how long will he
play.
be available for?
Yeah,
So
he'll play
just
3 games and
keep the
then
kid
he
and let's
will.
see how he does.
Yeah. Um, Out of all the players, before we wrap up, all the players, which which players are the ones who you think need a good preseason, like desperately need it for their confidence for the
Yeah.
season ahead? Which ones do you think are relying on this preseason to ensure that they have a good season coming up?
Look, top of my head, the first one is Rasmus Højlund. Like Rasmus Højlund really needs this preseason. The way he played in this previous match, like he needed that sort of performance. I know he didn't score, but he really needed to like get out of like that because there's this element where you're in a mental rot as a footballer, and it just like you are affected no matter what you try to do, it just doesn't work out. So I just think he needs to play more to get out of that mental rot. I just feel like it's not about his ability at present. It's more about like his confidence, his self-esteem. It's really down. We saw him when he initially came. The first game he played versus Arsenal, he was really confident. He was running around those Champions League performances when he was scoring against the likes of Galatasaray, the confidence was high. And then obviously because of the drought in the Premier League, you could see like he was being
Yeah,
tamed a bit, like his confidence was lower. Like people are making fun of you. There's more scrutiny on you as a United player. I mean, this is like United is a cooking like it's a cooker, bro, a pressure cooker. If you can't handle the pressure at United, it's very difficult to like get out of that mental rut. So I need to see him playing. Hopefully, he can get a goal or two in this preseason. And I'm enjoying seeing how Dogu is going. I feel like last season when he came in the middle of the season, he gave a good account of himself. I've seen some fans that were harsh on him, saying he's not that great, blah blah blah. In my opinion, I think fans nowadays they're not patient. Like just be patient for the guy. He came in the middle of the season, so what I've seen so far in this preseason, especially against Leeds, it looked really, really good. Like when he came on, he was one of our our bright sparks in that match. He almost scored. The ball hit Oilen, but yeah, him and then also I'll say Ugarte, because I think he faced quite a lot of criticism as well last season. Like like I said earlier, I feel like fans expect Ugarte to be this creative outlet, but he's not that player. He's not that sort of player. He's more of a destroyer. He sits back. He cancel out play. And in this previous game versus West Ham, he was really good. He did those elements
Yeah.
of his game, but then he also offered quite a lot going forward. Like there was that disallowed goal that Ama scored. It was from
Yeah.
Ugarte. He dribbled past players, got a shiwobo or nutmeg.
Some
So
some silky
yeah, it was
stuff.
good to see that. So he needs his confidence to go up. And
Yeah.
then I'll just say also I need to see Cunha more because he's new. So he needs that confidence. And yeah, I'll say that's just about it. Onana is not available. He's not fit. So I'd say he also needed that, but he's not there. So for me, it's Hoyland, like I said, Ugarte, Cunha. I think I forgot the fourth one I mentioned for.
Dogu.
But yeah,
Dogu.
Dogu. Yes, Patrick
Yeah.
Dogu. So those
Yeah.
those are the players I really, really need to,
Those
yeah.
are those, those are good shouts, man. I think with regards to Rasmus Hoyland, if somebody like Ollie Watkins comes in, that is going to do a world of good to Rasmus
Yeah.
Hoyland. He gets somebody that can sort of coach him, somebody that he can learn from, somebody who's been in the Premier League playing at the top of the game for years on
Yeah.
years. And I think that transfer, if I had to choose between Sesko and Ollie Watkins right now, I think it would be Ollie Watkins, mainly for the
Yeah.
fact that he can sort of be that mentor to Rasmus Hoyland. But if Hoyland leaves, then I mean Cisco's a no-brainer because then I mean we need to fill that number 9 role anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Watkins coming in would do a load of good to
Yeah.
Rasmus.
If
And
And to
yeah,
go on that point, like if Watkins does come in, you have Watkins, you have Mbuemo, you have Cunha. These are three experienced players who've done
yeah,
it in the Premier League, and they're all attackers. So honestly speaking, if Hoyland cannot find confidence while we have those three within the squad, even now, like even without Watkins, I want if Watkins does come in, it would be great. But even without Watkins, those two should actually be able to help him. Like, bro, like you look
yeah,
at Cunha, for example, he played with Georgian Stradlassen. It was his first season in the Premier League. He wasn't a great goal scorer before he came here, but like he scored a lot of goals that season for Wolves. He scored
yeah,
14 goals in his opening campaign. So it, you need those sort of characters. Like Cunha is a character. Like even in this preseason, there are moments where I saw Chiro Obi, especially in the first game, where Chiro Obi took a ball and he almost like he shot at goal, but like it was actually meant to be Cunha's ball. Cunha went at him. Like we need those sort of characters. Like hold them accountable, shout at them, tell them how to move, where to go. And I saw that as well over the weekend. Cunha was trying to instruct Hoyland, go over there, go over, do this. And when Hoyland wasn't anticipating things well, he would speak to him after. So we need that. Like Mbuemo will come in as well. Mbuemo is one of the best things about Mbuemo is his crossing. I think he was third in the Premier League or something in terms of crosses. He crossed quite a lot, and
yeah,
Wisa wasn't scoring that many goals, but Wisa scored a lot last season because he was a regular. So I expect Hoyland to now like, yo, Hoyland, you're getting the balls are coming in now. There's a lot more creation balls being created for
okay,
you. We have Bruno there, Ahmad, because it was mainly Ahmad and Bruno trying to find him last season. So now it's more than just Bruno and Ahmad. So I expect him to be a lot more confident or like at least better than last season. But having Watkins, like you said, would also do him a great or a world of good. Like it would be amazing.
yeah. No, I love that. I love that. Everything that you just said, I think we are very much aligned with what we want from this team moving forward. But that is all from us today on the Red Talk podcast. This has been episode 2. Kenny, plug yourself, what you have going on, where can the people find you, where would you want people to find you? Yeah, let us know.
Yeah. People can find me at Lekamania, which is LLEKAMANIA. Can find me on Twitter. I'm also on Instagram, but I don't really use Instagram and TikTok much, but it's the same handle. And I'm also on YouTube. I will also try. I'm trying to get into YouTube, create videos, especially pre-match videos. I did try that last season, but I was doing voiceovers. Now I wanna get more in front of the mic and camera and record. So I'll be doing that, posting more previews for the season, for matches and all that on YouTube. So that's where people can find me. And yeah, and I appreciate the platform, Red Talk Podcast. I will be here again if you need me. I'll definitely pull through. Uh, Great platform, and yeah, man, it's nice to see more United fans creating stuff, especially in South Africa. Like there's a lot more creators in the UK, obviously, but we need more in SA. So it's great to be on. That's why I took the opportunity. I was like, yo, let me come through, and yeah, appreciate the invite. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Thank you for coming through. I appreciate you coming through. We do go live every Wednesday at 7 p.m. right here on the YouTube channel.
All right, right.
So join us in the live chat and follow us on all social media platforms, guys. We are at sportycast. That's on Twitter, on Instagram, on Threads, Blue Sky, you name it. We are at sportycast. Give us a five-star rating on Spotify and Apple Music because we have our podcasts in audio version over there as well.
Awesome.
But yeah, and I am at AF Parker 642 on all social media platforms as well. Fidi Universal handle. But that is all from us today at the Retro Podcast. Thank you so much, and I
Thank
will
you.
see you guys again on Wednesday night live right here. Cheers.